The birthday candles flicker softly in the dim lighting of the restaurant, casting playful shadows across the untouched glass of Cabernet that sits before me. I check my phone for the 11th time in 30 minutes. Still no message. My fingernail taps rhythmically against the screen, echoing the increasing ache in my chest. Should we wait a bit longer for your guests, Miss Lewis? I glance up to see the waiter lingering at the edge of my table, concern etched into the fine lines around his eyes. His gaze shifts between the 4 empty chairs surrounding me and the small cake that rests at the center of the pristine white tablecloth. "Just another 15 minutes, please," I reply, mustering a smile that feels fragile on my lips. It's the 3rd time I've asked for an extension, and we both understand the implications. I smooth down the front of my emerald silk blouse, the one I treated myself to just last week in anticipation of tonight. The fabric glides beneath my fingertips, cool and luxurious. Behind the waiter, couples engage in soft murmurs and laughter. The sound of silverware clinking against china fills the air, and somewhere a cork pops from a bottle. The lively sounds of celebration swirl around me, yet I remain marooned on my island of solitude. 2 weeks ago, I had secured this table at Ellison's, downtown Denver's latest culinary hotspot. I had been riding the high of finally obtaining $1.2 million in angel investment for Verdant Alchemy Co., my natural skincare startup. After 3 years of grueling 18-hour workdays and second mortgaging my condo, someone had finally believed in my vision. A family dinner at Ellison's to celebrate my birthday and share some significant news. I had texted our family group chat on Thursday at 7. "I'll make reservations for 5. 3 days passed with no response. I sent a friendly reminder, just confirming dinner this Thursday. Let me know if you can make it. Another 2 days pass in silence. Finally, I send my 3rd message. Reserve table for 7 p.m. Thursday. Hope to see everyone there. Still nothing. No replies from Mom, Dad, or Theodore. My throat tightens as I sip water, the ice cubes clinking against my teeth. This shouldn't come as a surprise. It's the same pattern that has played out throughout my life. When I was 16 and Theodore was 14, Dad took him fishing in Montana for 2 weeks. When I asked why I wasn't invited, Dad simply patted my head and said, "He's a boy. He needs investment. You just need stability." That stability, it seemed, meant co-signing Theodore's $18,000 motorcycle loan when I was 22, freshly graduated with student loans looming over me. 6 months later, when he stopped making payments, I covered them rather than let my credit score plummet. Dad had acknowledged my help with a distracted nod while assisting Theodore in installing custom pipes on the bike. I take another sip of water, trying to will away the tightness in my throat. My family has always been there for me, just not in the ways that truly matter, not in ways that make me feel seen. "Excuse me." I look up from my glass to find a man standing beside my table, tall with salt and pepper hair and kind eyes framed by tortoiseshell glasses. He wears a charcoal suit that appears tailor-made for his broad shoulders. "I don't mean to intrude," he says, his voice warm and rich, "but I couldn't help but notice it might be your birthday." He gestures toward the small cake adorned with its unlit candles. My fingers tighten around the stem of my wine glass. "It is. May I wish you a happy birthday?" Then I should politely dismiss him. Instead, I hear myself say, "Thank you." He hesitates for a moment before asking, "Would you mind if I joined you until your other guests arrive?" There's something in his expression, genuine kindness without a hint of pity, that prompts me to nod. "I'm Farah Alexander," I introduce myself. He settles into the chair across from me, placing his leather portfolio on the table. "I'm a writer, primarily focusing on books about resilience," he replies. A smile spreads across his face, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Though I suspect you know something about that already." "What makes you say that?" "The way you carry yourself, like someone who's well acquainted with waiting and disappointment, yet hasn't been broken by either." My laugh catches me off guard. Are you always this perceptive with strangers? Occupational hazard, he responds, gesturing toward the waiter, who approaches with a lighter. May I? When I nod, the waiter lights the candles on my cake. Their warm glow reflects in Alexander's glasses as he asks, "So, what brought you here tonight, all dressed up and waiting so patiently?" I hesitate, then decide that truth is far simpler than fiction. I just secured a major investment for my company. Thought my family might want to celebrate. Ah, he nods, understanding blooming in his expression. And they're running late? They're not coming, I admit, the words tasting bitter, like coffee that's been left too long on the burner. Then they're missing something extraordinary, Alexander observes, leaning forward, resting his forearms on the table. Tell me about this company that earned such impressive investment. For a moment, I consider changing the subject, but then something inside me shifts. Why not enjoy this birthday, despite my family's absence? Why not share my triumph with someone who actually seems interested? Verdant alchemy, I say, feeling a genuine smile spread across my face. Natural skincare products made with ingredients sourced from sustainable farms, I explain, pulling out my phone to show him our sleek website featuring our best-selling facial serum. We're planning to expand our production facilities with the new funding. Remarkable, Alexander says, studying the images with keen interest. When he looks up, his admiration feels like sunshine breaking through after days of relentless rain. Someone should be celebrating your brilliance tonight. His words unlock something deep within my chest. As I blow out the candles on my cake, I make a different wish than I had originally planned, not for my family's approval, but for the strength to stop waiting for it. I won't wait for their approval anymore, I whisper, more to myself than to Alexander. The hardest lesson, he says softly, is learning that some people can't give what they don't possess themselves. The waiter returns with 2 plates for the cake. As I cut into it, I find myself opening up to Alexander about Theodore's motorcycle, about years spent showing up for a family that rarely reciprocated, about building my company while my parents focused on my brother's series of failed ventures. The strange thing is, I say, I think a part of me still loves them, despite everything. Love and boundaries aren't mutually exclusive, Alexander replies. In fact, the healthiest love requires them. As we share cake beneath the restaurant's warm lights, I realize that a stranger's kindness has made this birthday more meaningful than any family celebration could have. For the first time in years, I feel truly seen. And suddenly, that's enough. Morning sunlight spills across my balcony, turning the rim of my coffee cup golden as I breathe in the crisp Boulder air. The distant flatirons cut jagged silhouettes against a cloudless sky. 3 years have passed since that fateful birthday night when Alexander first entered my life, and the universe has rewarded my quiet determination with an abundance of success. My phone chirps with a notification, another share of yesterday's interview where I detailed Verdant Alchemy's journey from my kitchen counter to a staggering 35 million valuation. The view count has surpassed 500,000. The new face of natural beauty, reads one comment. If only they knew how unnatural family could be. My phone buzzes again, this time with a call. The name makes my stomach clench. Mom. We've barely spoken in 3 years, apart from obligatory holiday texts and the occasional stilted coffee meeting. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but instead, I slide my finger across the screen. Farah, honey. Her voice drips with the sugary sweetness I haven't heard since high school graduation. Did you see my messages? No, I was just... Theodore is getting married! Can you believe it? Our boy is finally settling down with Jessica. We'd love your help with planning the celebration. I grip the phone tighter. That's wonderful news. When's the wedding? June. Listen, sweetheart, your father and I have been talking, and we think this would be the perfect time for a Lewis Wise family collaboration. Collaboration? The word hangs between us like a fragile glass ornament, delicate and transparent. Your brand with our family name, Lewis Beauty, has such a nice ring to it. We've always been your biggest supporters. The lie stings more than if she had slapped me. I stare at the Forbes magazine on my coffee table, featuring my company profile. I need to think about that, I manage, my professional voice sliding into place like armor. Call me back this afternoon after we disconnect, I say, feeling the weight of the conversation linger. Another message chimes in. It's Theodore. Hey sis, big news about the wedding. Also, my racing team needs a primary sponsor. Only $300,000 for the season. Great exposure for Verdant. Let me know. I place my phone face down on the table. The view from my penthouse suddenly feels isolating rather than peaceful. Later that morning, I sit in my office, reviewing old family photos stored in a dusty folder on my laptop. There's Theodore, receiving his high school diploma, Mom and Dad beaming proudly beside his first racing car. Then there's my college graduation, just me, alone in cap and gown, because they had chosen to attend Theodore's regional race that weekend instead. My phone chimes with a voice message from Alexander. Just saw your interview. Brilliant as always. Remember who you became despite them, not because of them. Dinner tonight, I reply, opening a new spreadsheet and titling it Family Financial History. Line by line, I document every loan, gift, and bailout. There's Theodore's motorcycle, the 6 months of his rent I covered when he struggled after dropping out of community college, and Dad's fishing boat repairs after Theodore crashed it during a weekend joyride. The spreadsheet swells to $47,000 of silent support. This isn't about punishment, I whisper to the empty office. It's about boundaries. My CFO, Martin, knocks before entering with the quarterly reports. Everything okay? He asks, noticing my expression. Family matters. If my brother or parents reach out about business opportunities or sponsorship, please direct them to me. Martin nods. Legally speaking, you have no obligation to entangle family with the company. I know, I say, thanking him as he leaves. My phone lights up with a text from Rachel, my oldest friend. Saw Theodore's FB post about needing sponsors. Let me guess, he's hitting you up? They didn't celebrate you? Why fund them? I can't help but smile, despite myself. Rachel always cuts to the heart of things. Later that afternoon, a card arrives via courier, adorned with Alexander's distinctive handwriting on the envelope. Inside, I find a quote, "Boundaries aren't walls. They're the foundation upon which healthy relationships are built." By evening, I've crafted an email that feels both businesslike and final. I attach the spreadsheet detailing the $47,000 in financial support I've provided over the years. If we're going to collaborate, let's start from zero with full transparency. I hesitate before pressing send, wondering if I'm being too harsh. But then I recall my 29th birthday, candles flickering in an empty restaurant while my family didn't even bother to respond to my messages. My finger taps the screen. Mother's reply arrives within minutes, explosive and all too familiar. How dare you talk like that? Didn't we raise you to be grateful after everything we've done for you? I take a deep breath and type my response. Each word feels like a quiet declaration of freedom. When Alexander arrives for dinner, he finds me on the balcony, watching the stars emerge above the Flatirons. He doesn't ask about my day. He simply stands beside me, his presence a steadying force against the storm of emotions. They want to use me, I finally say, not celebrate me. And what do you want? He asks, his voice gentle. I turn to face him, feeling stronger than I have in years, ready to stop confusing obligation with love. He smiles, taking my hand. Then that's exactly what you'll do. As we head inside, my phone chimes with more messages from my family. For the first time in my life, I leave them unanswered. A week later, the receptionist's voice crackles through my office intercom, interrupting my quarterly projections meeting. "Miss Lewis, your mother and brother are here. They say it's urgent." My marketing director raises an eyebrow across the conference table, while 5 other executives pause their note-taking, pens hovering over leather-bound portfolios. "Tell them I'm in a meeting," I'll reply, forcing a professional smile. "I'll be out shortly." The intercom clicks again. They insist on waiting. They brought cake. A familiar tension coils at the base of my neck. My family never visited during the 3 grueling years when I worked 16-hour days in a cramped one-room office. Now that Verdant Alchemy occupies the entire 4th floor of a downtown building, with our name proudly displayed on the directory, they've suddenly discovered an urgent need to see me. 10-minute break, everyone, I announce, setting down my presentation pointer with deliberate calm. Greg, prepare the distribution figures for when we resume. In the reception area, my mother holds a bakery box with both hands, as if it were a peace offering. Her hair is freshly colored, the rich auburn she has maintained since her 40s, and her cream-colored blazer likely cost more than my first month's rent. Theodore stands beside her, hands jammed in the pockets of designer jeans, projecting a calculated casual look that probably costs more than most people's formal wear. "Surprise!" Mother trills, lifting the cake slightly. "We thought we'd stop by and celebrate your Forbes feature. No hard feelings about missing your calls lately." The receptionist watches with undisguised curiosity, while 2 packaging designers glance over from the break room. "How thoughtful," I say, maintaining my composure while acutely aware of my staff watching this performance. "Let's talk in the conference room." Mother's eyes sweep across our modern workspace, taking inventory of the exposed brick walls, the Edison bulb lighting fixtures, and the sleek workstations where my team creates products that have earned us coveted shelf space in luxury department stores across America. Theodore trails behind us, pausing to examine a display case holding our best-selling facial serum. "You must be making a fortune from these little things," he remarks, tapping the glass with a hint of envy. My marketing director emerges from her office, coffee mug in hand. "Jessica," Theodore says, flashing the charming smile that helped him navigate college. Jessica's professional smile never wavers. "Director of Brand Strategy now. Pleasure seeing you again, Theodore." I guide them toward the small conference room, away from curious eyes and ears. As we enter, Mother runs her fingertip along a walnut tabletop. $6,000 for this table alone, I'd wager, she whispers, not quite quietly enough. Once the door closes behind us, I turn to face them directly. This is my workplace, not a family reunion venue. Why are you really here? Mother sets the cake down, hurt flashing across her features. Theodore sprawls in one of the leather chairs, grinning. "Yeah, sis, don't be so suspicious." I remind him, the last time we spoke, you asked for $300,000 for your racing team. The time before that, Mother hinted about Theodore's wedding costs. Forgive me for suspecting this isn't just a social call. Mother's expression hardens. "You've changed. Success has made you cold." "I haven't changed," I counter, remaining standing while they sit. Theodore leans forward earnestly. "Come on, sis, we're family. That means something." The word family hangs between us, weighted with expectations and history. With the motorcycle loan I paid off while juggling 3 jobs, and the birthday spent alone while they attended Theodore's races? Yes, it does. I agree, my voice steady. Family should mean love without invoices, support without conditions, celebration without calculation. Mother's eyes narrow. "After all, we've sacrificed for you." What exactly did you sacrifice? The question escapes before I can filter it. When I needed co-signers for my first business loan, you said it was too risky. When I worked 18-hour days launching this company, you never once brought me cake. When I celebrated securing a loan at Ellison's on my birthday, your phones were apparently all broken simultaneously. Theodore shifts uncomfortably. "That's not fair." What's not fair is using family as currency, I interrupt. I don't need family only when I'm successful. I don't need cake only when there's something in it for you. We've always been proud of you, Mother insists, but her eyes dart toward the door, calculating her next move. I believe you, I say, softening my tone slightly. But I've learned to live without pretending. I'll always love you both, but this company isn't a family ATM. My success doesn't create an obligation. Mother gathers her designer handbag, straightening her shoulders. I see we've caught you at a bad time. Any time you come with expectations rather than genuine support will be a bad time. They leave with stiff goodbyes and promises to call later. Through the glass walls, I watch them cross the reception area. Mother's back rigid with indignation. Theodore's stride betraying his frustration. When the elevator doors close behind them, I exhale fully for what feels like the first time in an hour. My phone buzzes with a text from Alexander. Coffee after your ambush. Proud of you for standing your ground. Word travels fast. Rachel must have heard from Jessica. Another text arrives from my business partner. Taking the afternoon meetings. Take some time as needed. 10 minutes later, my mentor calls. How are you holding up? She asks, her voice carrying the wisdom of someone who's navigated similar waters. Better than expected, I answer truthfully. That evening, I draft an email declining Theodore's wedding invitation, attaching a generous but appropriate gift card. I create clear guidelines for future communications with my parents, ensuring that our interactions remain respectful and meaningful. My financial advisor helps establish a trust for genuine family emergencies, not demands. When I finish, I pour a glass of Cabernet and stand by my condo window, gazing out at Boulder's twinkling lights. For the first time, I understand that boundaries aren't walls built from anger. They're fences constructed with self-respect. Later that night, my phone pings with a notification. Theodore's Facebook status glows on my screen. Some people only care about money, not family. Already, mutual friends are tagging me, the gossip spreading like wildfire. My finger hovers over the keyboard, a dozen responses forming and dissolving in my mind. Then Alexander's text arrives. Remember, your truth doesn't need defending. I set my phone down, choosing dignity over defensiveness. The chapter of apologizing for my boundaries has ended. The story of living with integrity has only begun. 2 days after the confrontation, the cursor blinks on my screen, mocking me. I've typed and deleted the same response 14 times. Theodore's Facebook post glares at me from my laptop. Some people only care about money, not family. I exhale slowly, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The knot in my stomach tightens as friends tag me in comments, asking if there's family drama unfolding. 3 college acquaintances have already messaged, concerned, asking if I'm okay. The living room window frames the Boulder Mountains, bathed in the soft glow of early morning light. I've been sitting here since 5 a.m., nursing a cup of coffee that has long since gone cold, lost in thoughts about legacies and lies. I type carefully, reading each word twice before moving on to the next. Family isn't a debt, it's a sanctuary where love should be unconditional. I hope everyone finds that place, including me. My thumb hovers over the post button for 8 seconds before I finally press down. Done. No lengthy explanation, no accusations, just truth. Within minutes, notifications flood my phone. Friends from business school, former colleagues, even my 3rd grade teacher, who somehow found me on social media years ago, are reaching out. Stay strong, Farah. Been there. You're handling this with such grace. This resonates deeply. Thank you for your honesty. I set my phone face down on the coffee table, breathing into the silence of my apartment. It's strange how just 15 words can feel like shedding a 100-pound backpack. The landline rings, the number I reserve for business associates and close friends. Rachel's voice comes through, warm and steady. I saw your post. You okay? Better than I expected, I reply, curling deeper into my armchair as I watch a hummingbird dart around my balcony feeder. It feels clean. Clean is good. Rachel pauses. Theodore's gone nuclear in the family group chat. Your mother called me this morning, asking if I could talk some sense into you. My laugh escapes sharper than intended. And what did you tell her? That you made perfect sense already. The smile in Rachel's voice fades. Listen, they're calling around. Your father phoned James from the Chamber of Commerce breakfast group. The hummingbird freezes midair, then zips away as a shadow passes. Trying to damage control by rewriting history. It's pretty much something about how they've supported your business from day one, yet you've grown distant since achieving success. I press my fingertips against closed eyelids until stars dance behind them. 22 investors believed in my company long before my parents did. They never even inquired about what Verdant Alchemy produced until the Forbes feature came out. I know, honey, just giving you the heads up. Oh, and your mother's church prayer group got an earful about her troubled daughter who's forgotten her values. The familiar weight settles back between my shoulder blades, right on schedule. After Rachel's call, I take a shower and dress meticulously. A forest green silk blouse, tailored black pants, simple gold earrings. My armor for the day ahead. My assistant, Emma, meets me at the office door, coffee extended like a shield. 3 calls from someone named Theodore. Should I keep blocking? Yes, please. I accept the coffee with a grateful nod. Any messages from investors? Emma's expression shifts. Mr. Harrington from Keystone Capital called. He said your brother contacted him with concerns about company stability. He seemed confused. Heat flashes across my face as my fingers tighten around the cup. Theodore actually contacted my investors. The boundary violation staggers me. Call Mr. Harrington back immediately. Schedule a lunch if he's available. 2 hours later, I sit across from James Harrington at Ellison's, the same restaurant where this journey began 3 years ago. The irony doesn't escape me. I appreciate your time, I begin, meeting his gaze directly. I understand my brother contacted you. James nods, leaning back in his chair, his gray eyebrows knit together. Said something about family troubles affecting business decisions, wanted to warn me. He studies me over his reading glasses. Not very professional. No, I agree. Family and business are separate entities in my world, always have been. Anything? Good. He unfolds his napkin with deliberate care. The quarterly reports speak for themselves, Farah. 28% growth doesn't lie. Thank you for your continued confidence. Your brother seemed entitled to your success. James chooses his words carefully, mentioning something about family collaboration being owed to him. Aid owed. I don't flinch. There will be no collaboration. Smart call. He picks up his menu. Now, shall we order? I hear the salmon is excellent. Back at the office, I pull up the application form for the Verdant Foundation, my newest project, dedicated to supporting young female entrepreneurs. The cursor blinks. Steady now. Rather than mocking, it urges me on as I fill in the final details and then press launch. Later that evening, I receive a notification that my donation to the Colorado Motorcycle Safety Initiative has been processed. $20,000, anonymous. No press release, no social media announcement, just quiet action. My phone buzzes with a message from my father. Your mother is devastated. This public humiliation is beneath you, Farah. I set the phone aside without responding and pour myself a glass of wine. The Verdant Foundation website has already received 12 applications. My inbox contains 3 interview requests from business journals, none mentioning family drama, all focused on company growth and environmental initiatives. When the doorbell rings at 7, Alexander stands there holding takeout bags. His eyes crinkle at the corners. Thought you might not want to go out tonight. I step aside to let him in. Theodore contacted my investors. Alexander sets the food down, his expression darkening. That crosses every line. They didn't buy it. I pull plates from the cabinet. Turns out consistent professionalism speaks louder than desperate accusations. Of course it does, Alexander says, unpacking containers of Thai food. Your restraint is remarkable, Farah. Most people would have responded with matching fire, but I shrug, feeling warmth bloom in my chest at his words. Fire just makes more smoke. I'm interested in clarity. We eat on the balcony, watching the sunset paint the Boulder Mountains in hues of amber and gold. My phone buzzes repeatedly. Theodore's fiancé now saying they need to clear the air before the wedding. Thanks for watching. Am I doing the clearing before the wedding? Did you see the comment from Sandra Werner? Alexander's asks, refilling my wine glass. Theodore's racing sponsor? No. What did she say? That she's reconsidering their partnership after recent revelations about character. He raises an eyebrow. Apparently, your mother's version of events reached her but backfired. I take a slow sip of wine, contemplating. I never asked for that. You didn't have to. Truth has a way of finding daylight. As night falls over Boulder, my email pings with a message from my business mentor, Diane. Proud of you. Leading a webinar next month on ethical business practices. Keynote spot has your name on it if you want it. Later, as Alexander prepares to leave, he pauses at the door. You know, they're only escalating because they're losing control, right? I know. I can feel the cracks forming. Your mother called Rachel again. Apparently, she's less confident this time. Used the phrase, might have pushed too hard. Something shifts inside me. Not satisfaction exactly, but vindication. Did she now? I ran into your father at the coffee shop this morning. He looked contemplative, said something about wishing they'd invested in your company from the beginning. I lean against the doorframe, suddenly tired. 3 years too late for that realization. Alexander touches my shoulder gently. But not too late for you to live your truth. After he leaves, I sit on the balcony in darkness, my laptop open to Theodore's latest group chat message. She's destroyed this family with her selfishness. Below it, a surprising response from his fiancée, Melissa. Maybe we should all step back and think about what we're asking from her. I close the laptop without replying. Tomorrow will bring more accusations, more attempts to rewrite history. But tonight, I've discovered that silence, too, can be strength. Sometimes, the most powerful response is simply to keep building while others try to burn it all down. The voicemail from my mother plays for the 3rd time, her voice wavering with practiced vulnerability. Farah, sweetheart, I know things have been strained, but we're still your parents no matter what. Some bonds can't be broken, even when they stretch. I press delete and set my phone on the kitchen counter. The late sunshine spills through my condo windows, painting warm rectangles across the hardwood floor. Against my better judgment, I pick up the envelope that arrived yesterday, ivory cardstock with gold foil edging. The handwritten note tucked inside reads, "Time for family healing. We miss you, Mom and Dad." My stomach twists. 3 weeks of this campaign now, the carefully timed calls, the texts dripping with apologies that somehow still manage to avoid acknowledging any actual wrongdoing. Just yesterday, Theodore's fiancée, Jessica, left a voicemail about building bridges before the big day. Is this seat taken? I look up to find Alexander in my doorway, coat draped over his arm, a paper bag from Spruce Bakery in his hand. My shoulders relax at the sight of him. Only by ghosts and guilt trips, I say, sliding the invitation across the counter. Latest artillery in the reconciliation campaign. Alexander sets down 2 coffees and studies the invitation. Quite the production. The wedding at the Brown Palace? Someone's parents are feeling generous, or someone's sister is expected to be. I take a grateful sip of the coffee he's brought. Dark roast with a splash of almond milk. Exactly how I like it. And what about these? Alexander gestures toward the stack of photo albums on my coffee table. Recent arrivals, FedEx delivery yesterday, family albums dating back to my 5th birthday, complete with post-it notes marking special memories. I walk over and flip one open to a flagged page. This one says, "Remember Christmas, 1999. You were so excited about the family tradition." "Style," Alexander says, his mouth quirking into a smile. My phone buzzes with another text. Theodore. "Dad mentioned his blood pressure's been high lately. Really hoping they'll reconsider coming to the wedding. Would mean a lot to all of us." Alexander catches my expression. More health concerns? Theodore says, "Dad's blood pressure is up." I set the phone down, feeling the weight of it all. Last week it was Mom's migraines. "They're getting creative," notes, settling onto one of my kitchen stools. "How are you holding up?" I trace the rim of my coffee cup, contemplating. I keep thinking I should feel worse about all this. Shouldn't I be torn apart, sobbing over photo albums at midnight? And you're not? I feel tired, like I'm watching a movie I've seen too many times. I meet his eyes. Is that cold? Alexander considers this, the morning light catching the silver at his temples. I don't think it's cold. I think it's clarity. After years of the same pattern, you've stopped mistaking familiarity for obligation. "I don't want to hate them," I say quietly. "Boundaries aren't about hate, Farah. They're about health." You can forgive someone without resuming the same relationship. Something shifts within me, a tightness loosening. Forgiveness without restoration, I ask, seeking confirmation. Exactly. You can acknowledge the love that exists while recognizing its limitations. Alexander takes a sip of his coffee, then poses a thoughtful question. What would a healthy relationship with your family actually look like? I realize I've never truly considered this before. My options have always seemed binary: give them everything or sever all ties. But perhaps there's a middle ground I can chart for myself. Limited contact, I begin slowly, envisioning the possibilities. Scheduled interactions in neutral public places, no business entanglements, and clear expectations of mutual respect. Alexander nods in agreement. That sounds reasonable, but will they accept it? Theodore's wedding is soon, I remind him. The question isn't whether they'll accept it, Alexander replies. It's whether you can enforce it, regardless of their reaction. I straighten my shoulders, feeling a surge of determination. I can. Later that evening, with Alexander's perspective still resonating in my mind, I draft an email to my family. No accusations, no itemized lists of past grievances, just clear, forward-facing boundaries. I outline the terms under which I'm willing to attend Theodore's wedding and maintain a relationship moving forward. When I finally click send, something shifts within me. Not the weightlessness of escape, but the solid certainty of choosing my own path. On the wedding day, I stand in the glittering ballroom of the Brown Palace Hotel, a glass of champagne cooling in my palm. The ceremony concluded 30 minutes ago, and now the reception swirls around me. Distant relatives circulate like curious fish, friends of my parents eyeing me with speculation. Alexander stands beside me in a charcoal suit, his presence a steady anchor. Theodore approaches, champagne in hand, his new wife Jessica beside him. "You made it," he says. Surprise flickers across their faces, despite our email exchanges confirming my attendance. "And you brought a date." "Alexander," I introduce simply. "Congratulations to you both." Jessica beams at me. "Thank you for coming, Farah. Your gift was so thoughtful." The leather-bound financial planning book and modest check, generous yet appropriate, sit alongside crystal vases and silver serving trays on the gift table. The card attached reads, "Wishing you a partnership built on mutual support and respect. Love, Farah." Theodore shifts uncomfortably. "Listen, Farah, about the racing team. Alexander's hand lightly touches my waist, a subtle reminder of our agreement. I would attend for a maximum of 3 hours with no business discussions. Today is about your marriage, Theo, I interrupt gently. Let's keep it that way. Theodore's jaw tightens momentarily before he nods. Right, of course. He glances at Alexander. So, how did you two meet? Over birthday candles. Alexander answers smoothly, saving me from having to explain that night 3 years ago. We exchange a few more pleasantries before they move on to greet other guests. I exhale slowly. Holding up? Alexander murmurs. Better than expected. I scan the room, though my mother has been circling for the past 20 minutes. As if summoned, she appears at my elbow, elegant in pale blue chiffon, her perfume a cloud of gardenia and expectation. Darling, could I steal you for just a moment? Her smile includes Alexander, while simultaneously excluding him. Family matters. I meet Alexander's eyes. I'll be right back. Mother guides me to a quiet alcove near the dessert table, her fingers light yet insistent on my arm. Once we're alone, her smile dims. You look lovely, Farah, she begins. But I must say, your father and I were hurt by that email, setting terms for attending your own brother's wedding. It felt very cold. I take a careful breath, needing clarity about expectations. We're family, she says, as if this single word should override all other considerations. Family supports each other without conditions. That support should flow both ways, Mom. My voice remains steady. I love you, but I've learned to love myself too. Something flickers in her eyes, frustration perhaps, or maybe the first recognition that her usual tactics no longer work on me. Your father and I won't be around forever, she says. You know, I say gently, and when you truly need me, I'll be there. But what you're asking for isn't need, it's entitlement. She stares at me, this daughter who no longer bends to guilt. You've changed, Farah. I have, I agree, but I still love you. I check my watch. We've been at the reception for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Alexander and I should be going soon, early meeting tomorrow. Mother opens her mouth as if to protest, then closes it again. For the first time in my life, I see her accept a boundary I've set without pushing against it. Will you call next week? She asks, her voice smaller than I'm used to hearing. Sunday afternoon, for 30 minutes, as we agreed in the email, I confirm. As we rejoin the celebration, I spot Theodore watching us from across the room. Our eyes meet, and an understanding passes between us. Not warmth exactly, but perhaps the beginning of respect. He raises his glass slightly, a gesture of both acknowledgement and surrender. Alexander's hand finds mine as we make our way toward the exit. Ready? I look back once at my family, mother returning to father's side. Theodore dances with his bride, a constellation of relatives and friends spinning in their familiar orbits. They will continue without me tonight, and I will return on my own terms another day. Yes, I say, squeezing Alexander's hand. I'm ready. A year later, birthday candles flicker in my kitchen, casting a warm glow across the faces gathered around my Marble Island counter. Alexander stands beside me, his shoulder brushing mine as he adjusts his glasses and smiles. Rachel raises her wine glass, the ruby liquid catching the light. To choosing your family and your future, she toasts, her voice steady and sure. The small gathering, 5 people who genuinely want to be here, erupts in cheers. My heart swells as I survey my home, filled with the gentle hum of conversation and laughter. No empty chairs, no checking my phone every 5 minutes, no brittle smile plastered on my face. Make a wish, Alexander whispers, his breath warm against my ear. I close my eyes, but for once, I struggle to think of what to wish for. My business hit a $45 million valuation last quarter. The entrepreneurship book Alexander and I wrote sits proudly on my coffee table, its cover embossed with gold lettering. And most importantly, the gnawing ache of family disappointment has faded to a distant memory. I blow out the candles in one decisive breath. Same restaurant as 4 years ago, Rachel observes, cutting into the chocolate cake, but completely different energy. Different company makes all the difference, I reply, accepting a plate from her. Later, as guests mingle in my living room, I slip away to my study. My leather-bound journal waits in the desk drawer where I left it this morning. I trace my fingers over today's entry. Love doesn't require the sacrifice of self. These years of therapy have helped me understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're healthy fences with gates I control. Now, my family and I maintain a cordial relationship. I attend holiday dinners when it feels right. Theodore brings his wife, and my parents ask about my business without suggesting how to run it. We've found a balance. I can love them without surrendering my peace. The doorbell chimes, and a young woman named Jessica stands on my threshold, clutching a notebook. She's one of 5 entrepreneurs I mentor through my foundation. "Sorry to crash your party," she says, twisting her hands nervously, "but I've been offered a partnership with my father's business, and I don't know how to tell him I want to build something of my own." I usher her inside. "Family business pressure?" She nods, her eyes downcast. "He's invested so much, I feel obligated." Obligation and love are different currencies, I tell her, pouring a cup of coffee. One depletes you, the other fills you up. As I guide Jessica through the process of separating her father's dreams from her own, I realize how far I've come. The woman who once paid off her brother's motorcycle loan without complaint now teaches others to honor their own worth. My talk show appearance last month resonated with thousands. "Forgiving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you again," I had said, watching the studio audience nod in recognition. Those words became a lifeline for people struggling to break free from toxic patterns. In the kitchen, Alexander lights a single candle on the remaining slice of cake. We blow it out together, our fingers intertwined on the counter. Our book, dedicated to dreamers who find themselves alone at pivotal moments, has already helped countless others recognize their own worth. "Do you ever wish they had shown up that night years ago?" he asks, referring to my lonely birthday when we first met. I shake my head, a soft smile playing across my lips. No, because if they had, I might never have met the man who taught me that kindness can come from anyone, even a stranger. Later, we stand on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the skyline in strokes of amber and gold. City lights begin to twinkle one by one, like stars emerging in an urban sky. Alexander appears with 2 glasses of Cabernet, the same wine I ordered that fateful night. "Any regrets about your journey?" he asks, handing me a glass. I take a sip, savoring the rich complexity. Sometimes, the loneliest birthday becomes the first gift of freedom and the beginning of a beautiful connection. The wine tastes of celebration now, not solitude. As darkness settles over the city, I realize that the birthday candles that once burned alone now light a path forward, surrounded by people who choose to be present, not merely obligated to appear.